Acting like this doesn't have to make you stressed. Stoicism. Have you ever wondered how your life would feel if you stopped letting little irritations wear you down? Those unexpected comments, those sidelong glances, those attitudes that just push your buttons. What if you could train yourself to remain untouched by it all? No, it's not magic or a superpower. It's pure Stoic philosophy. Imagine for a moment facing any situation without losing your composure, staying grounded no matter who or what tries to throw you off balance. Sounds refreshing, doesn't it? Well, it's possible. In today's video, I'll show you how to make that a reality by following key Stoic principles that will empower you to handle life's stressors without stress. Stick around till the end because the last step might just be the key you've been looking for to keep your peace of mind intact. After all, you are in control, and only you decide if something deserves to disrupt your day or if you'll simply act as though nothing can bother you. Ready to shift your mindset? Before we dive in, if you find value in these videos, please subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell to stay connected. You never know. Today's insights might just be the change you need. Let's get started. 1. Practice empathy. Empathy is more than a fleeting sentiment. It's a profound strength, a disciplined approach to life, and an essential quality in today's often chaotic world. In the Stoic view, empathy functions like a mental armor, an ability to separate our inner peace from the storm stirred by others. This isn't an invitation to dismiss others' feelings. Rather, it's a practice that allows us to meet even the most challenging emotions with understanding, keeping our own composure intact. Consider this. You're in a social gathering and someone, dealing with their own frustrations, perhaps from an unrelated source, directs their bitterness toward you. It's all too easy to take it personally, to feel the urge to defend yourself or respond with equal negativity. Yet Stoicism teaches us that we can choose to act, not react. In other words, the true Stoic's power is in maintaining control over themselves, unshaken by external provocations, while extending empathy, knowing that most negative behaviors arise from a place of inner turmoil. Empathy in Stoic practice isn't about bending to others or losing oneself in their emotional struggles. Instead, it's the practiced ability to observe without becoming absorbed by the drama. To do this effectively, we have to let go of the notion that everything others do is about us. When someone lashes out or behaves rudely, the Stoic response is to pause and ask, what burden might this person be carrying that led them to act this way? Empathy doesn't require us to agree with poor behavior, but it does challenge us to see it as a reaction to their personal difficulties rather than as a personal affront. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, reminds us, wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. Applying this perspective, we can see each person's actions as an expression of their own state of mind, rather than as something targeted at us. This is an empowering shift in thinking. It allows us to protect our peace and approach each interaction without taking on unnecessary stress. Imagine empathy as a form of mental judo. Rather than resisting another's negative energy and being bowled over by it, you let it pass by, redirecting it with understanding instead of opposition. Like a wave that crashes around you but doesn't sweep you away, empathy lets you float above the emotional turbulence of others without losing your own footing. You remain grounded, not because you ignore what's happening, but because you recognize that your own response is always within your control. Epictetus spoke to this principle, stating, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." These words remind us that no matter the external circumstances, our internal response determines our experience. To live by this principle, start by practicing empathy in a simple but powerful way. Active listening. In daily life, active listening isn't just about hearing words but about sensing the emotions behind them. It's not enough to wait for your turn to speak. Empathy invites you to engage fully with what the other person is expressing, to connect beyond surface-level dialogue. Try responding with phrases like, "I understand where you're coming from," or That sounds challenging. Even a small acknowledgement can soften conflicts, open channels for healthy conversation, and give the other person space to feel seen and understood. When people feel heard, they are often less inclined to act out, and as a result, you protect your inner peace by diffusing potential conflict before it escalates. Empathy acts as a buffer, allowing us to meet aggression or frustration with calm rather than reaction. Stoic empathy is a practice that refines over time. As you deepen it, you'll find that many stressful situations simply don't impact you the same way. You become resilient, less prone to taking offense or feeling pressured to retaliate. Empathy equips you with the awareness that most people's actions are projections of their own inner struggles, fears, or frustrations, and often have little to do with you. It's liberating to realize that you are not obligated to carry the weight of others' emotional storms. Instead, you learn to navigate them gracefully, holding your ground and allowing others their space to express what they need without compromising your own stability. In a world where stress is an all-too-common fixture, empathy offers a sustainable approach to preserving inner peace. When someone else's negativity threatens to encroach on your well-being, remember that you possess the power to observe without absorbing, to stay centered amidst the noise. You are the one who chooses how you respond to others, and with empathy as your guide, you can remain unshaken even as the world moves around you. So the next time you encounter negativity or find yourself in a tense interaction, pause and reflect on the wisdom of Stoic empathy. Swim through the waves rather than fighting them. Stay calm, understanding that true strength lies in composure, not in control over others. 2. Practice acceptance. Acceptance. It's a concept that may sound straightforward, yet in practice it's one of the most challenging and rewarding approaches we can cultivate. I'm not talking about temporary fixes or superficial affirmations. I mean the true Stoic art of accepting things as they are, especially when they fall far outside our control. Think of how often we get caught in life's crossfires, whether it's work stress, conflicts with family, unexpected delays, or even the random stranger who decides today is the day they'll test our patience. We live in a world full of unpredictable twists, and the temptation is always to push back, to resist, and to change every situation that doesn't suit us. But let me tell you, this is like standing in a torrential downpour, holding a broken umbrella, hoping the rain will simply stop. The Stoics knew that true peace doesn't come from altering the outside world, but from shifting our internal reactions. Now let's talk about a scenario we've all faced, getting frustrated by someone else's behavior. Maybe it's a friend who cancels plans last minute, a colleague who takes credit for your work, or even a stranger who cuts you off in traffic. How often have you caught yourself replaying these moments in your mind, thinking about what you could have said or done differently? This is wasted energy, an emotional drain that leaves us feeling frustrated and powerless. But what if I told you that the first step to peace is realizing that you're not responsible for their actions, only for how you choose to respond? Imagine for a moment that your life is a theater, with you as the lead role. You don't get to control the script, nor can you direct the other actors. Your role is to perform your part as best as you can. The Stoics believed that focusing on what you can control, your responses, your mindset, is where true strength lies. Seneca once said, "He who angers you conquers you." In other words, when you allow someone else's actions to disrupt your peace, you've given away your power. But how do we actually practice acceptance in the heat of the moment? It starts with a single breath. That may sound too simple, but when tension hits, a deep breath creates space, a moment to decide rather than react. This is the moment where acceptance can begin. Ask yourself, is this really worth my peace? Do I need to let this small moment ruin my day? More often than not, the answer will be no. Acceptance, you'll find, doesn't mean ignoring issues or allowing yourself to be walked over. It means recognizing that you have a choice in how you respond to life's ups and downs. Let me give you a mental image that can help when things get tough. Think of an invisible shield surrounding you. This shield doesn't block you off from the world, but instead filters what you allow in. Negative comments, rude remarks, things that don't add value to your life. Imagine them bouncing off this shield. Only what truly matters, what helps you grow and brings positivity, can pass through. This visualization isn't just a trick. It's a way of training your mind to deflect distractions and disturbances, helping you focus on what really matters. Another practical approach is what I call acting as if. This doesn't mean faking your emotions, but rather choosing to carry yourself as if others' negativity simply doesn't affect you. When someone tries to get under your skin, respond calmly, even neutrally. Over time, this behavior will become a natural part of you, creating a buffer between your peace and the chaos around you. By acting with calm resilience, you're sending a powerful message to yourself and to others that your mood, your peace, are not easily shaken. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, reminds us, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Practicing this calm detachment isn't about ignoring emotions, but mastering how you allow them to influence your day. And here's one more powerful technique: smile. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Who wants to smile when they're stressed? But studies have shown that smiling, even when you don't feel like it, can trick your brain into releasing endorphins, those feel-good hormones. So the next time you're in a challenging situation, try pausing, taking a breath, and offering a small smile. You may be surprised at the calming effect this simple action can have, not just on you, but on those around you. Acceptance, ultimately, is about freeing yourself from the exhausting need to control everything around you. When you learn to let go of this need, it's like stepping out of the storm and learning to enjoy the dance. Imagine how much lighter your days could be, how much freer your mind would feel if you weren't constantly fighting against life's natural flow. By accepting what you can't change, you free up that energy to focus on what truly matters: your goals, your passions, your well-being. The next time someone's words or actions tempt you to react, remember that you're holding the power to choose your response. Take a breath, visualize that shield, and know that only what you allow in can affect you. This is the essence of Stoic acceptance. As a Stoic proverb says, true strength lies not in changing the world, but in changing our view of it. This isn't just a lofty ideal, it's a practical approach to peace that you can use every day. So, as you move forward, remember, acceptance isn't about giving up, it's about rising above. Control is not in what happens around you, but in how you shape your inner response. Embrace this, and you'll find that life becomes less about battling every storm, and more about navigating it with wisdom, purpose, and ultimately peace. 3. Cultivate patience. Patience. It's one of those things that sounds easy in theory but often proves elusive in real life. Have you ever noticed how small sparks, simple comments, or minor disagreements can escalate into overwhelming fires that consume your peace? I'm not talking about literal fires, but the small moments that can ignite big reactions within us. All it takes is a single comment, a passing look, or a minor frustration, and suddenly, it feels like our patience is tested to its very limit. But here's a question to ponder. What if, in these moments, patience wasn't a weakness, but a hidden superpower? Picture yourself in a heated conversation, where every word feels like a challenge, almost as if you're fencing with words. The other person makes a remark that would normally make your temper flare like a boiling pot. Yet, instead of reacting instantly, you take a deep breath. For a brief moment, it's as if time itself slows down, giving you the chance to pause, to hold back, and to choose your response carefully. This act, holding your ground with composure, is almost magical, yet it's no trick. It's pure Stoic philosophy. The Stoics saw patience as a discipline, a muscle that strengthens over time. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to lose patience, to feel that every small offense or inconvenience needs an immediate reaction, as if each moment were a crisis. But in reality, most situations we encounter day to day are far from urgent. Marcus Aurelius said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it," reminding us that the fallout from our impatience is often far worse than the initial spark. The Stoics encourage us to recognize that many moments don't deserve an immediate response, or sometimes any response at all. Learning this can be a game changer. Let's start building this superpower of patience. First, remember that not every word or action directed toward you requires an answer. Imagine you have a mental pause button that you can press when emotions rise. Instead of jumping into defensive mode, practice conscious breathing. When someone tests your patience, take a deep breath and count to 10. This simple exercise does wonders, giving your brain a moment to recalibrate before you react. Another method to reinforce patience is to think of yourself as an actor on a stage. You're playing a role, and while emotions are a part of the act, you control how they're expressed. Choose to act as though nothing bothers you, not because you're indifferent, but because you're actively choosing how to respond rather than letting emotions dictate your actions. Seneca famously advised, "He who is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is hasty exalts folly." This wisdom highlights how measured responses reflect inner strength, creating calm where there could easily be chaos. Patience doesn't mean bottling up your feelings or becoming emotionless. Rather, it's about learning to manage those feelings in a way that doesn't harm you or escalate the situation. Life will constantly present challenges, and there will always be people who irritate us. But every time you respond with patience, you're choosing a path of resilience and self-control over fleeting emotional reactions. Think of patience as a life jacket that keeps you afloat when the waves of frustration rise around you. Instead of allowing yourself to be pulled under, patience gives you a buffer, a way to stay steady in rough waters. It's like what Carl Jung said, "Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting." Imagine someone cutting you off in traffic. Your initial impulse might be frustration or anger, but if you take a deep breath, let it go, and remind yourself that you control your reactions, you suddenly become less affected. You reclaim your power. This act of patience isn't just about preventing a minor incident from ruining your day. It's about maintaining your overall well-being and resilience. You'll find that, over time, things that once irritated you will no longer have the same effect. In our daily lives, the practice of Stoic patience doesn't mean you'll never feel frustrated. It simply means you're better equipped to handle it when it comes. You're not enslaved to every passing annoyance or harsh word. Instead, you're mastering the art of maintaining your composure, recognizing that true power lies in self-restraint, not in controlling everything around you. Next time someone's words sting or a situation threatens to tip your calm, remember that patience isn't about suppressing your emotions but about giving yourself the space to choose a better response. When you let go of the impulse to react, you create room for understanding, compassion, and ultimately peace. So as you go through life's daily challenges, remind yourself that the storms around you don't have to cause storms within. Choose to pause, to breathe, to let go of immediate reactions. The patience you cultivate becomes your superpower, giving you the ability to face life's ups and downs without losing your balance. After all, as the Stoics would remind us, real strength lies not in conquering others but in mastering ourselves. 4. Work on your self-esteem. Let's dive into a concept that's essential but often misunderstood: self-esteem. But I'm not here to talk about empty motivational slogans or to tell you to simply believe in yourself. Instead, let's explore how you can truly build and strengthen your self-esteem so that you're no longer weighed down by what others think or say. Imagine the freedom of being able to walk through life unaffected by external opinions, acting with a quiet confidence as if no judgment or criticism could shake you. Because the truth is, building a resilient sense of self can be one of the most liberating things you ever do. Think of self-esteem like a bicycle. When it's well-adjusted and stable, you can ride smoothly and enjoy the journey. But when it's shaky, every bump in the road feels like a potential disaster, leaving you focused on not falling rather than enjoying the ride. This journey toward building a stable self-esteem is not about tightening a few screws. It's about cultivating a deeper, more lasting confidence from within. Self-esteem doesn't come from just adjusting external factors or looking to others for approval, but from developing an inner strength that lets you face life's ups and downs with resilience. Stoicism teaches us that we cannot control the opinions of others, only our reactions to them. When you accept this truth, you begin to build an invisible armor, a shield that protects you from the arrows of criticism and judgment. Now, let's make this practical. External validation is tempting. It's like a mirage in the desert, appearing to offer refreshment, but ultimately leaving you thirstier than before. Instead of seeking approval from others, start acknowledging your own worth. Picture this as an invisible shield that grows stronger each time you validate your own efforts. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." In other words, your peace and contentment are built from within, not from the fluctuating opinions of others. You can think of self-esteem as a mental bank account. Every time you acknowledge your own efforts, your small wins, and even your ability to learn from mistakes, you're making deposits. Over time, these deposits create a wealth of inner confidence that external opinions can't easily deplete. One way to make these deposits is through self-acknowledgement. This isn't about standing on a stage and proclaiming your greatness. It's about quietly recognizing the value of your efforts and progress, however small they may seem. Every step forward is like a medal you give yourself, a reminder that you're capable and resilient. Over time, this habit of self-recognition strengthens your internal armor, making it far less likely that someone else's opinion will unsettle you. Think about your day-to-day life. Who do you spend time with? It's crucial to surround yourself with people who value and uplift you. Real friendships and connections should feel like supportive hands guiding you forward, not a series of tests or judgments that hold you back. If there are people who constantly make you feel like you're under scrutiny, it might be time to reassess those connections. Your inner circle should help build your confidence, not undermine it. Now, another step in this journey to building self-esteem is learning to confront your fears. Ask yourself, are you worried about what others think because you're afraid of revealing your true self? Often, our reliance on external approval comes from a fear of authenticity. The Stoics understood that authenticity itself is a kind of shield, a layer of strength that protects us when we allow ourselves to be genuine, even if it means risking criticism. The more you show up as your true self, the less power negativity and outside judgments have over you. You might think of authenticity as a mental workout. Each time you show your real self to the world, you're strengthening your emotional resilience, making it harder for criticism to shake your confidence. It's a process that takes time, much like learning to ride a bike without wobbling. But with each effort, you build a steady, unshakable self-esteem. Remember, building confidence isn't something that happens overnight. It's a journey of daily choices, each one a step toward freedom from the need for approval. It's about realizing that other people's opinions are just passing echoes, while your confidence is like a steady drumbeat that guides you forward. Next time you feel that urge to seek someone else's validation, pause and remind yourself that true worth doesn't come from others, it comes from within. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, your value doesn't decrease based on someone's inability to see your worth. Let this sink in, and remind yourself daily that outside approval is fleeting and often unreliable, while your own self-approval is what truly endures. So start acting as if nothing bothers you, not out of indifference, but because you're choosing to focus on what genuinely matters, your own inner sense of worth. With each small act of self-validation, you're building a mental fortress, creating an unwavering belief in yourself that is unshaken by others' opinions. Think of these actions as a daily practice of stoic resilience, a commitment to valuing yourself without relying on the shifting opinions of those around you. When you can do this, you're not only cultivating self-esteem but gaining the freedom to live authentically, with strength and confidence. You'll find that when you truly value yourself, external opinions lose their grip, and you're free to move forward with calm assurance. letting your inner worth be the compass that guides your path. What's one Stoic practice you turn to when life feels overwhelming? Drop a comment below with patience if you pause to gather your thoughts, or perspective if you remind yourself to look at the bigger picture. 5. Get rid of perfectionism. We're living in an era where perfectionism feels like a requirement, almost like a new religion. We scroll through social media and are bombarded with images of supposedly flawless lives, perfectly decorated homes, sculpted physiques, polished achievements, and effortless relationships. But here's the twist. Much of this is an illusion, as fleeting and superficial as a unicorn walking down a runway. Behind these curated snapshots is the reality that no one has it all together. Life was never meant to be perfect. Now let's talk about this demanding companion called perfectionism, that persistent voice whispering that you need to be exceptional at everything, to excel at work, to maintain the perfect home, to handle every interaction flawlessly, and to have everything under control. If you keep pushing to meet this impossible standard, you won't become some mythical, invincible hero. You'll end up exhausted, constantly frustrated, and never truly satisfied. Life isn't a superhero movie where you're required to save the world every day. It's made of real, regular days where you wake up, try your best, and hopefully find rest at the end of it. That is more than enough, without carrying the extra weight of perfection on your shoulders. Let's start by addressing the obvious. No one is perfect. You're not perfect, I'm not perfect, and neither is the guy next door. Accepting this truth may sound simple, but it's one of the most freeing realizations you can have. Imagine perfectionism as a game where the rules keep changing just when you think you're getting ahead. Every day you work tirelessly to make everything flawless, every detail, every project, every interaction. But every time there's some tiny flaw, some minor imperfection, and it leaves you feeling as though you're falling short. It's like setting up a coffee machine, expecting the perfect espresso every time, only to have minor variations from the grind or temperature that make it impossible to nail down a perfect cup. At some point, it becomes ridiculous to obsess over it. This is what perfectionism does. It makes you chase something that doesn't exist. Stoic philosophy, with its timeless wisdom, reminds us that complete control is nothing but an illusion. The idea that we can manage every aspect of life is appealing but ultimately false. There are countless external factors, other people's actions, the weather, random chance, that we simply can't control, and accepting this truth allows us to stop fighting against what we can't change. So how do you break free from this burden of perfection without feeling like you're compromising your standards? Start by reframing your goals. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for good enough. If your work is solid, if your presentation is prepared, if your coffee tastes decent, then that's a victory. In constantly chasing perfection, we often waste our energy on insignificant details that, in the end, provide little satisfaction or value. A powerful approach here is to act as though small imperfections don't bother you, not in a way that ignores genuine effort, but in a way that helps you let go of what's not essential. If something doesn't go as planned, instead of spiraling, ask yourself, is this truly as big of a deal as it seems, or is it just a minor setback? Shifting your mindset this way is often the dividing line between those who live with peace and those who are stressed by every small hiccup. Perfectionism is like chasing a sunset. The closer you think you're getting, the more it moves away. This constant striving wears us out, leaving us more drained than fulfilled. Instead of aiming for flawlessness, embrace your mistakes and view them as part of the process, a chance to grow. True mastery lies not in never making a mistake, but in understanding that it's okay to be imperfect and to keep moving forward. Life is not a contest of flawless achievement. It's a journey of self-understanding and adaptation. Every day you learn more about yourself, about what really matters, and about how to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience. In fact, there's a unique kind of perfection in imperfection itself. When you stop trying to impress or meet an unattainable standard, you make room for authenticity. for the version of you that is both real and resilient. Oscar Wilde once said, "Perfection is a myth. Authenticity is the true perfection." Take this to heart and realize that the world doesn't need the perfect version of you. It needs the genuine, imperfect you. Embracing this doesn't mean lowering your standards. It means releasing yourself from unnecessary pressure. The next time you feel that relentless pull to perfect every detail, pause and remind yourself that your value doesn't depend on perfection. Instead, find joy in the journey, in the little victories, and even in the inevitable missteps that make you human. Let your life be a testament to growth, adaptability, and self-acceptance. After all, at the end of the day, the most valuable perfection is the one that lets you feel at peace with who you truly are. 6. Practice gratitude. Now, don't give me that look of confusion. This isn't about putting on rose-colored glasses or pretending everything is perfect. This is about a profound shift in how you see yourself and your life each day. How often have you let small inconveniences ruin your mood? A cold coffee, a frustrating traffic jam, or even someone's careless comment. Think about it. Have these annoyances ever genuinely helped you? Or have they only drained your energy, inching you closer to a state of constant irritation? Imagine what would happen if, instead of fixating on every minor inconvenience, you chose to focus on what's going right. Practicing gratitude is not a naive outlook, but a Stoic tool that can transform your experience of daily life, helping you find satisfaction in what you already have, rather than obsessing over what you lack. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If we take a moment to understand this, it becomes clear that gratitude isn't about denying reality, but about enhancing it by focusing on the positive aspects, making the whole picture brighter and more balanced. Consider gratitude like an essential ingredient in a recipe. Picture yourself as a chef preparing a complex dish. Instead of fretting over a minor detail, like a misplaced salt shaker, take a moment to savor the flavor of the meal itself. In doing so, you recognize that small imperfections don't ruin the experience. They're just a part of the process. Gratitude is the magic ingredient that can transform an ordinary meal into a satisfying feast. This is how the Stoics approached life, finding contentment in what they had, not in chasing the impossible perfection of what they lacked. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but how do I actually do this? Let's get into some practical steps for incorporating gratitude into your daily life, so it becomes a guiding force rather than just a fleeting thought. Start each day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be monumental achievements. They could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a comfortable bed, or even the fact that you had a moment of quiet. By doing this, you're setting a tone for your day that emphasizes appreciation over complaint. Each small gratitude acts like a stepping stone, guiding your thoughts to places of positivity and reminding you that, despite the inevitable annoyances, there are many things going well. And when something goes wrong, and it will because life isn't a smooth, uninterrupted path, take a breath and count to 10 before reacting. It's like pressing pause on a tennis match, giving yourself a moment to reset. Instead of dwelling on what's going wrong, search for something positive. Maybe a frustrating meeting gives you time to reflect or brainstorm a new idea. Or perhaps a slow commute offers a chance to listen to a favorite podcast. These small reframes are powerful. They don't ignore the reality of the moment but redirect your focus to a perspective that serves you better. Life has a way of challenging our perspective, of making minor problems feel monumental in the moment. But if you take a step back, you'll see that what feels like a big deal right now often turns out to be just a footnote in your life story. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control and accept what we cannot, reminding us that our attitude ultimately shapes our experience. Practicing gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. It means recognizing that life is filled with both ups and downs, and choosing to place more weight on the positives. If you view gratitude as an ongoing practice, as consistent as exercise or learning a skill, you'll find that over time, those small frustrations that once felt so significant start to lose their grip. Life becomes more manageable when you consciously choose to give the positive aspects of your day more power than the negative. And yes, practicing gratitude might seem so simple that you could wonder if it really makes a difference, but I assure you, this practice can gradually transform your mindset. Those once overwhelming obstacles will start to feel like minor speed bumps on your path to a richer, more fulfilling life. When you actively appreciate what you have, when you acknowledge the kindness of others or the small blessings in your life, you begin to see abundance in every corner. Marian Rojas puts it beautifully. Quien agradece por lo poco, encuentra abundancia en cada rincón de su vida. Whoever is grateful for little finds abundance everywhere. So, next time you feel that familiar tug of frustration, remember that the true power lies in shifting your focus to what's good, what's working, and what's truly valuable in your life. Gratitude isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing to see and embrace the best parts of it, shaping a life that feels rich, satisfying, and resilient. 7. Maintain assertive communication. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where, to avoid conflict or discomfort, you hold back what you truly want to say? Instead, you swallow your words, keep your frustrations bottled up, and walk away feeling unheard and even a bit resentful. You're not alone. Many of us have felt the pressure to act as though nothing bothers us, maintaining a mask of calm while frustration simmers underneath. But Stoic philosophy, while encouraging control over our emotions, was never meant to turn us into silent doormats. It's here that assertive communication, expressing what we need and feel without disrespecting others, becomes a powerful tool. Let's put it into perspective. Imagine you're at a party, and someone accidentally steps on your foot with a sharp stiletto heel. If you stay silent and act as though nothing happened, they'll likely keep stepping on your foot until the end of the night. But what if instead you kindly let them know they're standing on your foot? Not only does it stop your discomfort, but it also builds an honest interaction that clears up any misunderstanding. Assertive communication allows us to set boundaries and state our needs without resorting to aggression or causing unnecessary drama. It's a balanced approach, as essential to relationships as oil is to an engine, preventing the wear and tear that builds up when things go unsaid. Speaking up isn't always easy, though. It's a bit like dancing. You don't want to step on your partner's toes, but you also don't want to tiptoe around so much that you're out of sync. Think of assertive communication as an emotional GPS. Without clear directions on where we stand and what we need, conversations and relationships can quickly go off course, leading to misunderstandings and silent resentment that builds up over time, like grease accumulating in a kitchen until it becomes almost impossible to scrub away. Marcus Aurelius, a great Stoic philosopher, believed that you always have the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control. But while this Stoic view encourages us to maintain emotional composure, it also reminds us of the importance of intentional communication, helping us recognize when to speak up for our own peace of mind. Expressing yourself assertively doesn't mean adopting a tell it like it is approach or embracing blunt honesty at all costs. Instead, it's about finding the right balance between being truthful and being tactful. If something bothers you, say so with clarity and respect. Let others know where your limits are without resorting to hostility or frustration. You might think of it as keeping your internal house clean. Expressing what needs to be said avoids emotional clutter and allows for relationships based on mutual respect. For instance, if you're at work and a colleague keeps adding tasks to your already full plate, a simple, honest conversation about your current workload and time constraints can make all the difference. Silence, in contrast, might seem like an easier choice in the short term, but it usually leads to growing frustration, which could end up harming that relationship more than an honest conversation ever would. To put assertive communication into practice, take a breath and center yourself before you speak. This pause isn't about bottling up your feelings, but about making sure that you're responding from a place of calm, rather than reactive emotion. When you voice your needs, be concise but clear, respectful but firm. Communicating this way is a form of self-respect, allowing you to maintain your boundaries without creating unnecessary conflict. Stoic philosophy encourages us to acknowledge our emotions without letting them control us, and this includes recognizing when and how to express our needs effectively. In doing so, we don't avoid or ignore our emotions. Rather, we learn to channel them in a way that strengthens our relationships and respects our own well-being. Practicing assertive communication is essential for maintaining healthy relationships. It prevents the buildup of unspoken frustration and helps create an atmosphere of open, honest dialogue, where both parties feel valued and understood. Choosing to act as if nothing bothers you may seem like a conflict-avoiding strategy, but in reality, it only delays an inevitable emotional clash. Eventually, those unsaid words and unexpressed frustrations surface, often with more force than if you'd addressed them earlier. So the next time you find yourself in a situation that tests your patience or boundary, remember that expressing your needs with clarity and respect is the best way to maintain harmony and avoid the pitfalls of resentment. As Nelson Mandela once said, "Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies." Speaking openly, with kindness and honesty, prevents that poison from taking hold in the first place. Assertive communication doesn't just respect others, it respects you, enabling you to live and interact in a way that aligns with your values, preserves your peace, and allows your voice to be heard. 8. Use your sense of humor. Humor, the secret superpower we all possess, yet often leave neglected like those forgotten New Year's resolutions, waiting to be tapped when life's chaos ramps up. Think about it. Life is a constant stream of curveballs. There are the endless cycles of meetings that feel like they lead nowhere, unexpected setbacks just when you're finally catching your breath, and of course, the recurring duel with printers that seem intentionally designed to break at the worst possible moment. Now, if I told you that one of the most powerful ways to handle all this was simply laughing at yourself, would you believe me? Let's be honest. If you're waiting for the day when life miraculously smooths into a calm, predictable pattern, you're bound for disappointment. Life isn't a serene lake. It's more like a roller coaster that forgot its brakes. Fast, unpredictable, and at times, downright overwhelming. Stoic philosophy, with all its ancient wisdom, tells us that while we may not be able to control the chaos around us, we hold the power over how we respond to it. And humor is the unsung key that allows us to keep a level head, to find peace and perspective in a world that delights in testing us. Think about those awkward moments, ones we all have. Imagine you're in a critical meeting, the kind where everyone's attention is locked on the presentation, and you drift off for a moment only to wake up with a start, suddenly aware that all eyes are on you. Embarrassment hits hard, and you can feel the heat rising in your cheeks. Now, instead of shrinking into shame, what if you lifted an eyebrow, cracked a sheepish smile, and said, "Well, looks like even my subconscious didn't want to miss the fun." Instantly, a little humor not only eases the tension but shows others, and reminds yourself, that these things are far from the end of the world. Humor in these moments reframes what could be mortifying, allowing you to sail through it with ease and reminding everyone around you that life is a series of these quirky human moments. By laughing at ourselves, we turn the page, shifting from the main character in a heavy drama to the hero of a lighthearted comedy. Why not take advantage of this approach? When life throws you off balance, step back and become the witty narrator of your own story, seeing the funny side in the mishaps and messes. Maybe you're thinking, "But I'm just not that funny." Don't worry. A sharp sense of humor isn't a talent reserved for a few. It's a skill that can be nurtured one small step at a time. Start by paying attention to how you react to minor inconveniences. Let's say someone interrupts you in the middle of a sentence. Rather than rolling your eyes or fuming in silence, try smiling and thinking, just another episode in the sitcom of my day. Little by little, as you train yourself to see life's annoyances as part of a larger, often humorous story, you'll find that laughing off small frustrations becomes second nature. And soon you'll find this habit expanding into more challenging moments, bringing lightness where tension once took root. Learning to laugh at difficult situations, and at yourself, isn't about downplaying life's importance or ignoring issues. It's a powerful method of emotional resilience. It's recognizing that while we can't always dictate what happens, we have a choice in how we perceive it. As the Stoics wisely taught, external events may be beyond our control, but our response is ours alone. Humor fits perfectly into this philosophy, as it lightens the weight of our burdens and prevents us from allowing minor setbacks to snowball into overwhelming stresses. The next time you're caught in a sticky situation, remember that humor can be one of your greatest tools, an invaluable shield that turns tension into something lighter, even enjoyable. When you view life through this lens, each mishap is an opportunity to add levity and humor rather than stress and anxiety. Each delay, each mess, each unplanned twist could become a moment you laugh about instead of something that brings you down. With this mindset, life becomes less about fighting each small disaster and more about finding joy, even in the midst of chaos. After all, there's a reason people say laughter is the best medicine. When you allow humor to ease the stress, you're reminded to savor the ride rather than getting trapped by every small roadblock. By learning to laugh, not only do you face life's challenges with grace, but you also embrace a stoic wisdom that keeps your mind light, focused on what matters, and unfazed by the rest. 9. Accept impermanence. Have you ever felt like every little thing bothers you, as if you're stuck in an endless suspense movie where each minor inconvenience feels like a looming catastrophe? It's exhausting, isn't it? Yet there's good news. You don't have to keep watching that channel. There's a way to switch perspectives, to change the way you see the world, so that not every bump feels like an impending disaster. Let's talk about one of the most powerful concepts in Stoic philosophy: impermanence. Now, I know that word may sound heavy, maybe even intimidating, but it's surprisingly simple. Impermanence is the understanding that everything in life is temporary. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. The issues that stress you out today, the ones that wrinkle your brow and keep you up at night, may be nothing but a faint memory tomorrow. Life is a lot like a TV series, with each day bringing a new episode. And just because something dramatic happened in today's episode doesn't mean it'll affect tomorrow's. Think about the last time something bothered you, whether it was a misunderstanding in a text, a disagreement at work, or even just a rude comment from a stranger. In that moment, it probably felt like the world was closing in. But ask yourself, does it still matter as much today? Did it linger, or did it fade like a cloud passing across the sky? The Stoics teach us that both emotions and situations are transient, always flowing, and never fixed. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." When you understand impermanence, you realize that the feelings that seem overwhelming in the moment are simply passing clouds. Next time something agitates you, try to see it as temporary, as something that won't stick around forever, just like that cloud that eventually drifts away. Here's a practical way to put this mindset into action. Picture that you're holding a remote control with a special ignore button. Whenever something minor gets under your skin, instead of focusing on it, mentally press that button and switch the channel. Imagine skipping over the bothersome scene and shifting your focus to something more meaningful. Remember, it's not about ignoring genuinely important issues, but rather learning to not let every little stumble knock you off balance. Many of the things we fret over have little to no lasting impact, yet we give them power simply by fixating on them. This button allows you to detach, to take control of where you place your mental energy, so you're not weighed down by every trivial annoyance. Another useful technique is to take a step back and ask yourself one simple question: will this matter in a week, in a month, In a year? If the answer is no, maybe it's not worth the worry or the time. Shifting to this perspective helps you see your problems in a more objective light, creating a space for what truly deserves your attention. When you begin to filter issues through this lens, you'll find that most things don't have nearly the weight you once thought they did. This doesn't mean life's challenges won't affect you, but it reminds you that most of what feels big now will shrink with time. The beauty of accepting impermanence is that it doesn't just calm your mind. It gives you the power to see life with a touch of humor, to let the small things remain small. In fact, learning to accept life's impermanence brings a certain freedom. You realize that the little dramas of daily life don't define you, and you're free to interpret them however you wish. At the end of the day, what annoys you today might just be a funny story tomorrow, something you'll look back on and smile about. So, whenever you feel the pull of stress, remember that you are the protagonist in a story that's constantly changing. You have the power to choose how you react to each scene. Life is like a TV series. If today's episode isn't to your liking, relax. There's always another one tomorrow. If you could sum up one piece of Stoic wisdom that helps you stay calm under pressure, what would it be? Comment below with acceptance if you focus on letting things go, or resilience if it's all about bouncing back stronger. Practice mindfulness. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's comment felt like a spark igniting a fire within you, and suddenly you felt like a volcano ready to erupt? Perhaps it was a careless remark from a colleague or a criticism from a family member at dinner, and for a brief moment you felt the intense urge to let your emotions take over and respond in kind. But something stopped you. You took a deep breath, paused, and allowed that impulse to pass without giving it power. This choice, this simple act of not reacting impulsively, is at the heart of what the Stoics called mindfulness. Now don't let that term intimidate you. Mindfulness isn't some distant practice reserved for monks or sages. It's a skill each of us can develop, a way of being present in each moment, observing our thoughts and emotions without letting them control us. Picture mindfulness as having a remote control with a pause button, one that gives you the gift of stopping time for just a second, creating a moment of space between feeling and action. This pause lets you choose your response, and that choice, in turn, allows you to move through life with intention and resilience rather than reacting blindly to each situation. Mindfulness is like a magnifying glass that lets you see your thoughts and emotions clearly before they sweep you away. Think about how powerful it would feel to hear a comment that would usually get under your skin and, instead of reacting immediately, you take a moment to reflect, to notice how you're feeling without acting on it. This small pause, this gap between stimulus and response, creates room for a more measured, thoughtful reaction, a response that you won't look back on with regret. Let's say you're in a conversation and someone makes a remark that feels dismissive or undermining. Typically, you might feel the urge to snap back, but by practicing mindfulness, you allow yourself to pause, take a deep breath, and decide whether responding emotionally would actually serve you. It's not about ignoring the issue or pretending it doesn't bother you. It's about regaining control over your emotions rather than letting them control you. As Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Imagine applying this kind of mindfulness in your everyday interactions, even in the small frustrations that make up daily life. You're like a dancer on a stage, but instead of letting someone else's words dictate your movements, you choose each step with intention. You control your rhythm, your pacing. You can practice this in simple ways, such as taking a deep breath and counting to 10 before responding to a tense message, or pausing for a few seconds to center yourself before answering a question that feels loaded. One technique that can help is to visualize your mind as a lake, calm, clear, and still. Imagine each disruptive thought or emotion as a stone tossed into the water. Initially, there are ripples, but instead of letting them multiply, visualize the lake returning to calm. This mental exercise doesn't ignore the issue but allows you to approach it from a place of clarity, giving you control over how you respond. The beauty of mindfulness is that it isn't about shutting down your emotions, but about understanding them so that they don't overwhelm you. It's not a quick fix or a magic trick. It's a skill that builds over time, allowing you to engage fully with each moment without letting your feelings dictate your actions. This ability to pause, observe, and respond thoughtfully can be practiced every day, and the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Soon you'll find yourself able to handle even the most challenging situations with a sense of calm and perspective. When someone makes a comment that once would have sparked an argument, you'll have the power to pause, reflect, and choose a response that maintains both your dignity and your peace. You'll become more resilient, able to navigate life's challenges without feeling at the mercy of your emotions. This doesn't mean you'll never feel anger, frustration, or disappointment. It means you'll be able to handle those feelings without letting them derail you. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation that tests your patience or challenges your peace, remember that you have the power to pause, to observe, and to choose. You're not a slave to your emotions. You're the master of them. By embracing mindfulness, you take back control, gaining the strength to handle life's ups and downs with resilience, poise, and a sense of inner calm. As the Stoics taught, true strength isn't in never feeling, but in never being overwhelmed by what you feel. Epictetus put it perfectly. The art of maintaining calm is the skill of not letting the waves of your emotions drown your mind. With mindfulness, you develop that art, that skill, and you walk through life's storms with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they can handle whatever comes. 11. Surround yourself with positive people. Picture yourself in a beautiful field under a clear blue sky. Everything feels calm and right until someone nearby starts throwing rocks, telling you exactly what you should do with each one. These rocks represent life's daily irritations, the nagging problems, the small setbacks, the unexpected criticism. Instead of reacting with frustration, imagine gathering those rocks and building something meaningful with them, a sturdy wall or a peaceful path through the field. This imagery holds a powerful lesson. The people you surround yourself with can either help you create something positive from life's challenges or leave you weighed down by negativity. Surrounding yourself with positive people isn't just a suggestion from a self-help book. It's a foundational principle that Stoic philosophy also emphasizes. Just as plants need healthy soil and sunlight to grow strong, we too need an environment that supports our mental well-being. We are influenced by the attitudes and mindsets of those around us, and they can either bolster our resilience or erode it. Consider the impact of spending time around people who constantly complain, see only the worst in every situation, and rarely look for solutions. It's like living in a constant rainstorm. Everything starts to feel dreary, heavy, and draining. On the other hand, spending time with people who face challenges with optimism and who encourage you to see the good around you is like stepping into sunlight. Positive people don't magically make your problems disappear, but they help you see things from a healthier, more balanced perspective. They help you realize that many of life's minor irritations don't need to become major dramas. This isn't about surrounding yourself only with people who are eternally cheerful or overly agreeable. It's about creating a balance in your life that offsets the negativity we all inevitably encounter. By consciously choosing to spend time with those who have a constructive outlook, you build a support system that makes you stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to handle life's challenges without feeling constantly weighed down. Now, let's talk about how to maintain this positive approach even when life and people test your patience. First, practice acceptance. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we cannot control everything, but we can control how we react. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. If someone insists the sky is green, smile and move on, letting their perspective be just that, their perspective. By accepting what you can't control, you create a space of calm that negative opinions and petty issues can't invade. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a quiet, sturdy fortress. People can hurl complaints, criticisms, or frustrations your way, but inside this fortress, you remain steady, choosing which thoughts to let in and which to leave outside. This practice of selective focus is essential for maintaining peace amid negativity. Second, seek out connections that lift you up. This doesn't mean you need to cut out every friend who has a bad day or every family member with a critical streak. We all have our difficult moments. But it does mean actively prioritizing relationships with people who bring light and positive energy into your life. Think of these relationships as the nutrients that keep your mental and emotional garden flourishing. Invest time in friends who not only support you in good times, but also stand by you in difficult moments, offering constructive perspectives and encouragement. And remember, healthy relationships are reciprocal. They give as much as they receive. Make it a goal to nurture connections where both you and the other person grow stronger, more resilient, and more centered. When you adopt these practices, you begin to live in a way that reflects inner peace rather than constant reaction. You become the person who can face negativity without being dragged down by it, who can meet life's small frustrations with a sense of calm rather than with stress. With time, these choices shape not only your mood but your whole outlook on life, and soon, you'll find that minor annoyances simply don't have the same effect. Surrounding yourself with positive influences and practicing Stoic acceptance help you approach life as something to be experienced fully, rather than something to be constantly fought against. At the end of the day, remember that you have the power to choose your mental company, whether it's in the form of the people around you or the thoughts you entertain. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius advised, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Let this be your guiding principle, and you'll find that life, even with its ups and downs, becomes a journey where peace and strength are always within reach. Finally, remember that positivity starts with you. If you want to be surrounded by positive people, be the source of that energy yourself. Share a bit of your own light, and you'll see it reflected back. So next time small things start to irritate you, ask yourself if you're in a field of flowers or a storm. Surround yourself with those who help you see the blue sky, and when others throw stones, use them to build a fortress of patience and serenity. Thank you for being part of this journey with Stoic in your life. If this video brought you value, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos filled with insights and practical Stoic wisdom. Leave a comment with "ears shut to idle words" if you've made it this far, and I'll know you're one of the committed ones. I look forward to hearing your own stories of resilience and growth. See you in the next video.